Hi everyone, this video is on second position, and if you're watching it, chances are you, like myself and like most violinists, have a general sense of insecurity playing in second position. It's harder to play in tune. It's harder to feel where our hand should be on the neck of the instrument, because in first position and in third position we have these tactile touch points where we subconsciously feel the instrument, and it signals to the hand that the hand is locked into the right place. But in second position, there's nothing to feel. There's no edge of the violin shoulder or curve here of the neck, where it curves to the scroll. We don't have those things. So we feel like we're swimming a little bit here in the middle of the ocean of the fingerboard. So what I hope to do is to give you ways of thinking about where you're, about how to frame your thoughts so that you can have ways to practice getting to second position, where you can start to create more awareness about where your hand is on the neck of the instrument. And then I have some little pieces for you to work on. And I think that will just help you feel more comfortable in second position. So the other problem with second position is that it's a transient position. We don't, it's not a home base for anything. We use second position to get us out of sticky situations in first or third positions, where let's say there's some awkward string crossing and second position just makes more sense. So we don't often spend a lot of time in second position. And then lastly, the reason it's, I think, more difficult learning than the other positions is that there are two hand placements, two thumb placements here on the neck. There is the low second position placement and the high second position placement, and they both are frequently used. Unlike in first and third position, we are generally locked into one placement. Most of what we play is in this one placement, in the first or third positions. There are exceptions, but I'm talking about most of the time. However, most of the time, when you have to shift to second position, you could be shifting to the lower or the higher placement. So because of that, you don't spend a lot of time in just one hand placement for second position, and that leads to the fact that we feel more insecure with second position. So here's an example. I just want to show you first, I want to show you where these thumb placements are. So if you had this arpeggio, A minor, and you had an extension with your fourth finger, you would think, well, I'd like to avoid that extension. I'll play this in second position. So my first finger will go to the C natural. Okay, let's say that you have A major. That's a big extension. So now I'm going to play that in second position. Now my first finger is on C sharp. Well, because when I shift, the goal is for my thumb to come with my hand all the time. That means the thumb is also landing in different places. So when I landed on the C natural, my thumb landed, closer to the scroll. So I would say, from just what I can see via the monitor, the tip of my thumb looks to be about an inch, from the end of the neck. And then when I play it the higher placement, so there, I would say that's, maybe, I don't know, an inch and a quarter. It's wider, and my hand feels higher. So I want you to kind of start your second position education by just memorizing the note names for, at least for your first fingers, when the hand is in that lower placement versus the higher placement. So when we're in the lower hand placement, our first fingers are on for the G string are on B flats, or is on a B flat. Our first finger on the D string is on an F. On the A string, it's on a C. E string, it's on a G. Okay, so you just memorize that right away. You can also go ahead and memorize those fourth fingers as well. So G on the G string, we have the E flat. On the D string, we have first finger F, B flat, fourth finger, C to F on the A string, and G to C on the E string. So I think just keeping that in mind will help you already start to establish more reference. Now, I want you to think of this lower hand positioning think of it as a half step up from first position. Now, there are exceptions, but what I'm basing this on is our strongest muscle memory for notes in first position. And our strongest muscle memory would be our regular natural first finger placements. So in first position, our first finger is on a G string, E, B, and F sharp, right? So if I'm going to the lower placement, second position, I am moving my hand up a half step. So just think of this second position, like we have two second positions, okay? This second position, this lower one, is a half step up from first position. Because so much of the time when you shift to second position, you will be using that feel of moving the hand a half step. That's what you are going to be thinking about. That's how you're going to be framing the choreography of moving to second position. Now, higher position, okay? The higher position, this second position, is when, for our first finger notes, we have B natural, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. And I want you to think of this as a whole step up from first position. So go ahead and practice those whole step shifts. Okay, so this higher position, okay, it's completely different. It's not the same second position anymore. Okay, so maybe that's more helpful, is to think, well, we have two second positions. Okay, so which one am I going to and which one should I be in? So now what I want to do is I want to give you some examples. I'm going to take 3 examples from the D minor second partita unaccompanied Bach, the jig movement. And we're going to think about, okay, these are all second position moves. And are we going to the lower one or the higher one? And how are we going to get there? Okay, so the first one, this is the end of the A section going to the B section. We have a shift to second position, the beginning of the B section. And you see that my first finger is on a C sharp. So the C sharp on the A string, if my first finger is on that, is that the higher or the lower? Okay, it's the higher. And like I mentioned earlier, when we shift, we want to keep thumbs and fingers together when we shift. Okay, that's a big goal in shifting. So I have to shift to that C sharp. Now I'm going to be thinking when I shift, okay, now I'm moving up a whole step. That's how that whole step, I'm shifting after an open string. So I have to imagine that my first finger could be on a B, shifting up to a C sharp. Whole step. Okay, I was lucky that time. Okay, so let's look at a different example. This next one, so now I have to shift again after an open string. After this open D, I have to go to second finger C. Okay, well, how far am I going? Am I going to the low second position? Am I going to the high second position? I don't have a first finger down right there. I'm shifting to a second finger, so which second finger? I mean, which one, the high or the low? Well, if I keep playing, eventually I get to that first finger B flat. So in reality, I am shifting up a half step. My hand is coming up a half step to my low second position. So there's my thumb. Okay, so if you can measure the tip of my thumb to the end of the scroll or the end of the neck. Okay, and here was the first shift, the previous example. So there's my hand there. And there's my hand there. So in the same piece, within the same piece, I had different placements, different second positions that I had to shift to. Okay, now here's another one. I'm going to try to stump you. I want you to, after I show you this example, I want you to try it. I want you to stop the video and see if you can determine the answer to this question. Okay, so this example here, did I just shift up to, should one shift up to the lower or the higher second position? There's that C sharp. My first finger is on a C sharp right here. And as I demonstrated in the first example, when I shifted to a C sharp, my thumb came with my hand. Okay, is this the same thing? Is this the same thing? Okay, so figure it out. All right, assuming that you worked it out in your mind, hopefully the answer you came to is that I am actually shifting to the lower second position, that even though I have that C sharp is just very, very brief, but my first finger after that C sharp is on an F, and that's where my hand needs to be. So it needs to be in this spot. Because the majority of those notes are in the low second position. It's just for a second there, just less than a second. I just have to scoot my first finger high and play that C sharp. So yes, you can see why second position is so hard. So in the first example, C sharp, my thumb is here. But in the third example, my thumb was here, and then I had to reach up and play the C sharp. So it's kind of brutal, but I think the more you are aware of these details, the quicker you will get at knowing where your hand should be and getting in tune. Now I have three pieces for you. And go ahead and print them up so you can see what I'm talking about when I reference them. And for you YouTubers watching underneath, I do have links to where you can download the PDFs. I also have audio files, and these pieces are on my website, violinlab.com. If you haven't ever visited Violin Lab, please do. I do have some free videos to watch that aren't here on YouTube. I also invite you to join me on Violin Lab. It is a membership, and if you're an international student and you can't afford or pay for the membership fee for some reason, please email me. I do have scholarships available.